Hi everyone, this is Praveen. The image on your right is the Curiosity Ranger designed and developed by NASA as a mission to Mars. The purpose of the Ranger was to explore, survey, map, identify objects, and to do experiments. We, the mapping monsters, are working on a prototype for a similar kind of project using a Lego kit. The success of the project depends on the quality of the software requirement specification document. This presentation will enlighten the importance of the SRS document as it enlists all necessary requirements that are required for the project development in a precise, consistent, and appropriate level of detail. It also establishes the agreement between the client and the developing team on what the software product can do. It is to avoid any future misunderstandings. It also permits a rigorous assessment of requirements before design to ensure all the user-defined requirements are satisfied. The review of the SRS document is divided into main parts so that all the requirements can be uniquely and correctly identified. The parts include organization and completeness, correctness, quality attributes, traceability, and special issues. Organization and completeness. Organized and completed introductory section of the SRS document is presented for reference. All the requirements specified are unique, consistent, and has appropriate level of detail, and they also provide an adequate basis for design and testing. The requirements that are needed for the proper function of the system are specified as high priority, and all other requirements are specified of their importance. All the external and software requirements like GUI and LEGO mined from EV3 system software at the operator and the robot end are specified. Also, the communication requirements between the robot and the user is specified. The team hasn't started testing, so the expected behavior of all the error conditions are not implemented so as the algorithms to the functional requirements. All the user-defined tasks are specified clearly in the SRS document, along with other additional requirements that are not requested by the customer. Correctness. The SRS document is reviewed for any duplication before being documented and is written in concise and simple language, free from grammatical errors. As the team has just started on the basic movements of the system, all the requirements are tested, reviewed, or analyzed. All the requirements are specified within the scope of the project and are implemented within the known constraints. Missing requirements are not listed as to be done. Error messages that are specified in the SRS document are displayed when there is an unauthorized access. Quality attributes. All the performance objectives of the project is documented in the non-functional requirements section of the SRS document. Safety being the main priority, it is being carefully analyzed and all the possible safety and security considerations are listed. For example, even the speed of the robot is accounted for safety reasons, as it might cause damage to the robot when it hits an obstacle. Quality attributes are not explicitly documented or quantified. Traceability. All the requirements specified in the SRS document are uniquely identified with the tag number so that they can be easily identified and cross-referenced throughout the document. All the software functional requirements specified are traceable. For example, when the connection of the robot fails, which is a software functional requirement, it needs to be backed up by a different method, which is specified in the user requirements section of the SRS document. Again, which is tagged at the end saying UR301. All the requirement dependencies are governed by their priority. Special issues. All the requirements specified in the SRS document so far are user-defined, so they are actually requirements and they don't contain design or implementation solutions. Not all the time-critical functions are identified, but the ones that are identified are too general. For example, the mapping speed is defined as a time-critical function, but it doesn't have specific information. it is to be included in future, and there are no standards enforced that needs to be followed. Conclusion: all the requirements that are specified in the SRS document are consistent and clearly structured and are within the scope of the project. All the important requirements that are needed for the system to function properly are implemented as high priority. The implemented requirements are well within the known constraints. Additional safety and security considerations are also taken into account. All the software requirements that are specified has a unique tag number so that they can be easily traced or cross-referenced within the document.